Joining us today is Elinor Alexander, Acting Director, Petroleum and Geothermal Group, who'll be speaking at IIR's Mining South Australia 2010, which takes place on the 30th of November to the 1st of December 2010 in Whyalla. Hello Elinor, thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk.
First of all, what have been the key petroleum developments in South Australia over the past 12 months?
What we've seen is nearly all the state's petroleum prospective acreage has been covered by licences or licence applications. So we've got record numbers of licences and applications on the books now, and consequently we've got little vacant acreage for people to apply for, which is the downside, but the positive is the interest levels. We've had a new piece of legislation with the updates to the Petroleum and Geothermal Energy Act. That's just about celebrated its first birthday and seems to be serving industry and the people of South Australia well. Cooper Basin's ticking over as the largest onshore oil and gas producer, which is fantastic. It's such an important part of the state's economy and energy mix. We're still attracting companies to come into the Cooper with new investment opportunities and acreage releases. And we're basically building momentum. Exploration momentum's building in the Frontier Officer Basin, where we've got a couple of companies, international companies, who have been actively and aggressively exploring it with seismic and who are now starting to drill. And we see a lot of potential in that basin. And without wanting to sing our praises too much, we are a bit chuffed that PERS's and South Australia has been named as the most favourable petroleum jurisdiction in the world outside of the US and Austria in the Fraser Institute's 2010 petroleum survey. So we're very pleased to rate top in the Oceania region and 14th in the world. And
how's geothermal energy fitting into the energy mix in South Australia?
Well, South Australia's geothermal resources have got vast potential to fuel zero emissions baseload electricity generation, and we're really lucky that we've got excellent geology and also that we've got a good regulatory regime in place that's enabled companies to get on the ground and get on with exploring. So we've got 248 licences and applications in South Australia, which is 60% of the action across Australia, and we've got 69 geothermal wells have been drilled, and 13 of the are deep wells below 1,000 metres. So we've got the most advanced projects in the country as well, with the geodynamics Inaminka project in the Cooper Basin area, Petrotherm's Paralana project, and Panax's Limestone Coast project, and all three of those have advanced with deep drilling and currently going through evaluations and more deep drilling to come. So very exciting. And I will say the stewardship that our director, Barry Goldstein, has given the industry and the leadership that he's shown in various roles in the sector really puts the whole sector in very good stead.
What are the Petroleum and Geothermal Group's key objectives and targets for the upcoming year?
Well, we're here to manage the state's upstream petroleum and geothermal resources on behalf of all South Australians. I mean, that's the bottom line for us. So we regulate companies, and this is all ongoing work. It's bread and butter work, but it's got to be done. So we regulate, we provide a lot of data and advice. We do research on the state's prospectivity, and the idea is to generate new investment opportunities. PACE is an important part of that, and the Minister's just announced that it's being extended and expanded in the state budget as PACE 2020. Very exciting. We facilitate new sectors like geothermal and the greenhouse gas storage sectors. We get the approvals processes rolling for industry through our one window into government. And we make sure that the regulatory framework's all good and effective, and we collect the royalties and fees. So that's our bread and butter work. But the key things this coming year, we've got a Cooper Basin acreage release closing in March, and we're hoping that we'll get more investment in the basin with a good response from companies. And one of the big shifts we're seeing is a focus on unconventional plays in the Cooper Basin and elsewhere in the state. And this is a whole new ball game. There's enormous potential. Beach Petroleum are a real leader in this. They've just spudded their first shale gas exploration well, Encounter 1, in the Cooper Basin. Other companies are taking a real interest in it as well. So we're seeing perhaps a new chapter starting for the state's petroleum industry, and it has the potential to extend the life of the Cooper Basin and Moomba for decades to come. So very exciting developments this year. We've also got companies testing coal seam methane and underground coal gasification. It's all sort of rolling in the eastern states, but it's a bit new in South Australia. So Link and other companies are getting stuck into exploring those sort of plays. Geothermal, it's going to keep rolling with more deep drilling, and the sector's going to have its big conference in Adelaide in mid-November, so if people want to find out more, could be interesting. So we're just seeing a whole lot of new things coming up, and the next 12 months are really going to start advancing some of these unconventional plays.
You're speaking at IIR's Mining South Australia 2010 conference, which takes place on the 30th of November to the 1st of December 2010 in Whyalla. What will delegates experience in attending your presentation?
Well, I'm aiming to give a bit of an update of what's been happening, because there has been a lot going on in the state, but also a bit of a look at the past, because I think you understand where you've come from, you can then understand where you are and then where you're going, and the future is going to be, tossing some ideas around about unconventionals and other things that are likely to be important over the next decade. I want to touch on some of that as well, and also hear what the delegates have to say on those matters. So, things have changed so much. 10 years ago, we were really focusing on conventional oil and gas. Now there's so many new things with unconventionals, coal seam gas, storage, coal to liquids, things like that. It's all on the portfolio that we manage now, and so I want to talk about some of those changes and the new world that we're in now.
Elinor Alexander, many thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much.